If you have a historic 3% mortgage rate on your current home, you may be thinking about turning it into an investment property when you move. It sounds like the ultimate financial play. Buy your next house, keep the old one, let a tenant pay off your debt, and build wealth on autopilot. But if you're planning a move in the next 6 to 12 months, running this play without looking at the true structural costs of being a landlord in New Jersey is a dangerous trap. Holding onto a house just because you love your interest rate can easily tie up the exact capital you need to secure your next primary residence. In our local market, especially in towns like Wayne, Ringwood, and Oakland, rental demand is intense, with the average rent for a single-family home pushing past $2,800 a month. The idea of becoming an accidental landlord is highly tempting. But there's a big difference between a property that makes sense for your family to live in and a property that makes sense on a business spreadsheet. The question you need to answer isn't what your mortgage rate is. It's whether that property actually generates a real, sustained monthly profit after the real-world liabilities are paid. Here's where the math gets messy. Most people calculate potential rental income by taking the expected monthly rent and simply subtracting their current mortgage payment. That calculation completely ignores the reality of living in a high-tax state like New Jersey. When you convert your primary home into a tenant-occupied property, everything shifts. Your maintenance costs change, your insurance premiums jumped to a landlord policy, and your local property taxes continue to march forward. If a major system like your roof or heating unit fails, a single vacancy or one heavy repair bill can instantly wipe out an entire year's worth of expected profit. The true risk of keeping your old house isn't just dealing with tenants. It's the invisible cost of trapped equity. When you choose to keep your current home as a rental, you're actively choosing not to use that cash down payment for your next purchase. That choice forces you to take out a much larger mortgage on your next home at today's current rates. You might be protecting a 3% rate on a property you no longer live in, while simultaneously forcing yourself to borrow money at a much higher rate on the roof over your family's head. If you're stuck deciding whether to cash out or become a property manager over the next 6 to 12 months, we need to map out how keeping that house will affect your next purchase while you still have total control over the move. To show you exactly how this looks on a real balance sheet, I recently sat down with a homeowner who was determined to keep their starter home as a rental. They were laser focused on preserving their low interest rate, convinced that selling would be a waste of an asset. When we actually ran the math, factoring in property taxes, vacancy reserves, and landlord insurance, the home was only going to net about $100 a month in true profit. That's it. By selling the home instead, they realized they can pull out over $250,000 in clean equity. Injecting that cash directly into their next home saved them over $1,500 a month on their new mortgage payment, instantly giving them a better return than the rental ever could. That shift changes things for your family's financial future. Real wealth isn't built by collecting properties just for the sake of owning them. It's built by putting your capital where it works the absolute hardest for you. Being a landlord is a business, not a hobby, and it requires time, energy, and a willingness to handle middle-of-the-night emergencies. When you look at your real estate portfolio through the lens of absolute numbers rather than emotional attachment to an interest rate, the right decision for your moving timeline becomes completely obvious. The bottom line comes down to one core choice. Do not let a low interest rate on an old house drag you into a business you don't actually want to run. Your primary goal should always be to optimize the financial health and comfort of the home you actually live in. Before you make a permanent choice based on assumptions, let's look at the real numbers so you can preserve your cash, your peace of mind, and your strategic options.